Hey there, viewers. My name is Torinski, and welcome back to another DCSS Sunday. Today we're, of course, jumping right back into the usual routine, trying to get a win with every deity in the game. And where we last left off, we'd started last week's stream by kind of following in the footsteps of the previous, i.e. not very well, or not playing very well, I should say. But by the end of it, we started to jump back into some Makhleb Djinnis, and with our final Ifrit run, we got pretty decent spells, most namely Summon Guardian Golem and Conjure Ball Lightning have both been lifesavers throughout the course of the run so far. So hopefully we can continue going and maybe finally get a long-awaited win under the belt here after an unfortunate series of events. But of course, who knows what the dungeon has in store, so without further ado, let's just get ready to hop back in with our lovely friend here. I also forgot that, yeah, we got Vampire's Tooth, which we'll see how much we end up using it. It's really nice having a backup, and I'm curious how Mega Vamp will work with a Djinni. It seems like a match made in heaven, but who's to say? Hi-oh to you as well, Zoe. I hope things are going well for you, of course, my friend. But okie dokie, we had just finished, if I remember correctly, coming all the way down to D15, so I think it's just about time that we head back up to our S branches, and between Swamp and Spider, where do we wish to go? Don't need to worry about poison, so that's a non-starter in both sections, that's fine. We don't have great willpower, unfortunately. Has potential minor effects in both. Resist electricity, so we don't need to worry about spark wasps. And of course, all the fire resistance one could possibly desire. Not so great on the cold side. So bog bodies. If our swamp is full of bog bodies, then oh me oh my, we might be in trouble. But first and foremost, before we jump into either of those sections, our spellcasting rates are all looking really good. We've been training shields just a little bit. I'm curious if I throw on our kite shield friend here. We would not look at our weapon, but rather our spells. Conjure Ball Lightning goes to a 10% failure rate. It's not horrible, but definitely not ideal. Potentially we'll leave that son of a gun off for just a wee bit longer, and potentially that helps make our decision here, because Spider has orb spiders, so it'd be nice to have that reflection kite shield equipped by the time we get there. So let's maybe start in Swamp. We'll, you know, test out the waters, dip our toes in, see how it's looking, see how we're feeling, and we can always change our mind later as long as we don't die a horrible death immediately. So here's to that. And let's start taking a peek, shall we? Again, we do have Conjure Ball Lightning, which is a very good spell, little bit dangerous to use, of course, and on top of that, very, very loud. So we may want to be just slightly cautious of that. Okay, our friend doesn't come with us. I was actually hoping the Bunyip would come up as well, and we could use the expanded space a bit to our advantage. Oof. Maybe, just maybe. We'll phone a friend, and we'll get them in here to help us out. Try out a little bit of this Mega Vamp while we're at it. Definitely healed up nicely throughout the course of that fight, but not going to take that as a ringing endorsement quite yet. It's a good start. But let's ensure that that's something we can repeat before we get too excited, shall we? And not too shabby. We've at the very least successfully made our entrance in, and now we'll just have to see how we fare over the course of the remainder of the area here. Hello, my wormy friend. Ooh, and another wormy friend. To what do I owe the pleasure? Ah. A ghost crab is not ideal. We're not looking great in the positive energy department at the while. Or at the moment, I should say, more correctly. I guess we could just start blasting out. Eventually, our main friend will get here. I I'd rather be standing in steam as number 1, then our own fire clouds. Negative clouds as kind of the last ideal option on the list there. Hydra is 14 times 6. And I am once again in a negative cloud, so let's just start backpedaling a wee bit here. Fortunately, all these sons of guns fly because they're ghosts, so that's a bit of a shame. I just call more friends? Do we train any evocations? We did get evo up to 10, so I could also potentially bring out a beast. Maybe some lightning rod action to try and hit our crab friend from afar here. Let's see how that goes. Fantastic. So maybe not completely necessary to phone a friend, but it does help defend us while we heal up here, especially since we made a decent amount of noise over the last little bit of that fight, so not gonna complain too much about that. And a Scarf of Invisibility. I'll probably rather have the 1 AC for the moment here. I feel like invisibility ego equipment is something that I undervalue to the extreme. I don't know how valid that is, or if it's just a course of habit that I've gone into. I mean, there are definitely quite a few habits that I've gone into over the years that are in no way ideal, so would not be too shocked to hear the same. And there we go. Yeah, without cold resistance, that 3d18 when it hits for max is a pretty big wallop, unfortunately. Oof. So we take another hit. I don't know if there's anything we can really do about that in the short term here. Definitely don't want to take another bolt hit. Drinking resistance seems a bit overkill, but things usually do, you know, until everything goes horribly wrong. I guess if we sacrificed a whole lot of armor class, went down to 7 AC, we could get the resistances we need. It's not ideal. So Lig would give us a bit of health. I was just checking to see if we'd lose what little cold resistance we have. Does not seem to be the case. I would assume then this ring is where we're getting it. Indeed is this ring. Alternative is probably just the heal wounds. Don't love it. We need to get closer to you so we can start Scorched Earth strategies. And oof, definitely feeling a bit rough at the moment here. Bog Body is definitely going to explode. Definitely could have seen that one coming, but that's a-okay. Now you, my friend, you probably actually swim quickly. You swim extremely quickly. Oh, me oh my, to what do I owe the pleasure? For 27 and a bit of extra acid damage, I wish you gave me a number on that. I'm sure we'll be fine. One more Scorch does indeed do the trick, and then we'll just pop upstairs, play it a little bit safer while we heal up, and see how this goes, shall we? I mean, I guess we've kind of broken our way into the level. So let's start making some noise, shall we? Not the end of the world whatsoever, and definitely allows us to deal with that son of a gun in a much safer manner. Ooh. And we'll just once again start blasting here, I think. Hello, my friends. Oh, Louise, that's not great. I do not have solid willpower. So, plot twist, turns out I do not, in fact, have enough of the level cleared to not worry too much about the noise. Unfortunately, didn't pick up the regen amulet either. Now I'm really wishing that we just had an inventory spot that we could immediately slot that into. But 33, 27, you can't quite hit me yet. If I step down and to the right, These two up here don't get another attack. But I get a turn, maybe even more than a turn of potential banishment coming my way, so that's not great. Oh gosh. Especially if it takes this long for the teleport to proc, excuse me. If we could get sent out of here. Thank you. Appreciated game. Oh me, oh my. Hey Sapid. Happy CA. Is that for Canada Day? Definitely was alright. I'm surprised. Thinking back on it now, usually we hear a lot of fireworks. Unfortunately, our dog isn't super afraid of fireworks, but it's definitely usually not ideal. I don't think I heard any this year, which is weird, especially since it landed on a Saturday. Unfortunately, wasn't too much of a celebration on my end. Was very busy doing some overtime work stuff, but still enjoying the weekend in general, and very much looking forward to getting an extra day off on Monday at the very least. Perfect. I was hoping that would hit our froggy friend, and it did indeed do so. Hopefully I don't get myself killed off with the lightning here. I'm definitely running this one a little bit riskier than I should. But hey, it all works out in the short term at the very least here, so that's fantastic. Oh, and then hello, my Hydropal friend. What to do with you? I guess we could go back to the volatile blast motes strategies just to ensure that we get a little bit of extra wiggle room. Unfortunately, not as much as I'd like. Oh, and you have 8 heads. That's something I should definitely be paying attention to. One trick I did learn watching, I think it was Wizard right after last stream, is with the quiver here. We can actually open up our inventory with star. We can equip something like a scroll of fear, and that way when we press it, we can actually see its chances to affect things. I've always just looked at the willpower pips and done a very loose approximation as to whether or not I think it will be effective. I'll be interested now that I know I can see the numbers. Maybe my blind optimism was actually working in our favor and trying to use it as a strategy to get out of trouble in times where it wasn't completely a sure thing. But at the moment here, we still need to get out of this one alive if we're going to be able to do anything. Probably what I could have done was actually bring out a golem when we first saw the Hydra. We had a bit of space between us, probably enough room for me to do some lining up and make sure we're in a good spot. Alternatively, I could just turn into a tree and we're probably okay. I'll most likely regret this as hordes of enemies come descending upon us from afar, but maybe, just maybe, we get out of it okay, at least for the moment here. Louise is still hanging around somewhere. There you are, my friend. 104 health on you, hey? Don't love that. Not great AC or EV, so we could potentially try to do a silence play here. Box of Beasts still not back online, unfortunately. Maybe instead we'll go with a File of Floods to get you waterlogged temporarily. And then I need to just get as much burst damage out here as I possibly can. Okay. Well, that was a good start for sure. Fantastic. Ooh, a cancellation potion for our troubles. Appreciate that, Louise. And still take a little bit of explosion damage there, but not the end of the world. And we can finally put on this regen amulet, get up to full so it's activated. And that should be just about perfect for us. No un-ID'd items, that's fine. Just leave you by the wayside for now, I guess. And you with swiftness, I probably don't want to bother blast moding and running away. Ooh, hello Roxanne. If we weren't playing on a Djinni, I'd be very tempted to try and fight you right now for statue form. Of course, no such luck for us here. Should have been maybe a little more careful of the swamp worm, because them pulling us into Roxanne's range could have very easily started a chain of events that we'd rather not have experienced, but that seems just fine for the moment here. And okie dokie, Swamp 2 cleared out. Swamp 3, I immediately hit a mark trap upon coming downstairs. That's just lovely. We have a 5-headed Hydra. It's not an ideal spot if I go directly up, but not horrible. I should also change my quiver key here so I don't accidentally use my Scrolls of Fear when I don't otherwise mean to. Let's see where our Guardian Golem goes, shall we? Then bring out some friends. I'm most likely going to regret this, or not at all. Fantastic. Love to see it. And we'll just head to a different stairwell instead, something a little more our speed, which is not that one, actually. Oh gosh, and the last one is under Roxanne. Ishka, what do we do with you, friend? I definitely don't want to get close. 182 health. Oof, oof, oof. So I think this stairwell looked a little bit worse for wear with the Thorn Hunter there. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not that far away, so that's great. I'm sure that couldn't possibly screw us over here, as all of our enemies were already headed that direction. So what do we want to do? We could actually back out of Swamp. We could head to Spider instead and see if things are looking a little more smooth on that side of the S-branch coin. Alternatively, could do like a Vault-esque strategy of reading a teleport before heading down and then getting sent somewhere random the level. Hopefully the enemies disperse a bit. We can catch them in a slightly more advantageous position. Advantageous for us, that is.